Hey, Jim Cam here, founder, franchisor of multiple brands in Montreal, now exceeding over 150 locations. And in today's video, I'm here to talk about Onigiri Shop. Yes, even though it's called Onigiri Shop, it's still legal in Quebec because we call it Le Onigiri Shop. But more importantly, what's an onigiri and what's Onigiri Shop? It's a very simple concept using all the fresh and quality ingredient of sushi, but we make it in a way that it's so simple and also so affordable for the customers. We simply make a triangle rice ball, wrap in seaweed, and with all the filling in the middle. That's it. That's as simple as I just said. So why is Onigiri Shop so popular and so much in demand right now? It's because not only for the franchisee, but also for the consumer, it's the best they can get for the quality and the price. Mostly for all franchisee, they want a concept that it's easy to operate and also easy to hire people. And with Onigiri, we basically figure out all that part because we take all the fresh ingredients sushi and we make it in a way that it's so easy that anybody can be an expert within the first hour of work. So you just make a rice ball, filling, wrap it, triangle shape, that's it. And for the consumer part, no processed food, all natural ingredients, with any onigiri starting at $4.99. How better can you get with everything going on right now in the world? The wars from left to right. So this is, in my opinion, the best investment that you can make if you want to own your own store. I believe the reason why we managed to scale over 20 locations within 1 year. And now we have a dozen aligned to be open within the next few months. So let's start by breaking down the initial cost. Before, I do suggest you guys to just shop around. Go look at the other franchise brand out there that is not under franchisor. Compare the price. So our total investment requires $150K to $200K total investment. This includes the franchise fees for the franchise agreement, which is $35K, construction, equipment, signage, POS system, first inventory. So with this initial investment, you will be able to cover all this. So yes, I know even though 150K to 200K, it's a much smaller numbers compared to our competition, but it's still a pretty big amount to invest in total. But we do have some franchisee that will fund the whole project in cash. But the other part, we provide also a business plan that you guys can apply and get the financing from the bank with a small business loan. This is, in my opinion, one of the best part of the business, because when you buy a franchise, you also buy the whole system behind. And this is what the banks like. They want a proof of concept that has been proven to be working and doing very well through multiple locations, which is why they feel safe to lend out the loan. If you do compare outside, you will probably hear that most brands will finance the whole project up to 90% of the total investment. But we're not done, right? If the typical franchise fees is $35K, I'll be true with the numbers. Basically, what it means is the bank only finances 100% of construction, equipment, signage, and POS system. So that means it leaves you with 10% that you have to pay, which will include the franchisees and inventory. So do the numbers yourself. 35K plus whatever inventory, 10K. So you're already at 45K. If 45K is 10%, that means the total investment might be more than double this. Closer to 450K. I've seen up to even 800K. But are they actually making better numbers? Can you support that much of a big loan every month? After, you'll see. We'll bring in the numbers and you figure out for yourself. So that's why, with everything going on that is uncertain in business or even for survival now, but still life has to go on. Even though you don't want to take any bold move, there will be people taking the opportunity that I have to offer. So just be smart with your investment, look it up for yourself, and we'll see if this is the right fit for you. Because if you're really hesitating investing this in a franchise, I suggest you to just not start your own business. Strong suggestion. For our concept, basically, if you go with the business loan, it requires you to have at least 30% of the total investment. So that's about 50 to 75K cash on hand. That's what you need to be able to apply for the small business loan. So now let's break down to operational costs. I just mentioned that every business is risky. Even though we have a solid proof of concept through 150 locations, but there will still be risk. So what we want for a franchisee, even new franchisee, and it's always been our main goal, is to lower your risk, making sure that you have the better chance of success. So operational costs. Imagine having a low investment cost, capital investment, that already lowered your risk by a lot. But also operational costs. What we want is we want to keep the rent about 10% and all the other fixed costs like electricity, internet, accounting, all the other small fixed costs, about 7 to 10% too, still. And control the labor under 30%. Same goes with the food cost, also 30%. Because we're in the food industry, we're not selling something premium, so we need to be efficient. Also, we don't want any waste. This is the only way you can make sure that you have a good profit margin. And we also have 5% plus 2%. This is 5% for royalties and 2% for marketing fees. So a total of 7% here. So yes, a lot of numbers, but I'll help you out. So imagine 30, 30, 10, 10, 7. That means 87%. I've been very conservative with the numbers. So this is just basically the highest numbers that I want you to have. So even though it's at its peak, you still be able to make 13% profit margin if you're operating wisely. But just lower this 5% here, you just make an additional 10% profits. That goes to 23%. And why we like this breakdown, even though I maximize to make it just more realistic for more people. Let's be very conservative, 500K sales per year. That means we want the rent to be between $4,000 to $5,000 per month. That's why we're not mainly in a lot of food court or main streets, because the rent is over 10K. Imagine things goes bad, people don't consume, don't walk in the mall anymore. What do? You have an extra fixed cost that you have no control over, that you have to pay every single month. This is exactly what we don't want. So that's why our concept is built in a more efficient way, that even though you're not located in the prime spot, but you're good enough to generate good sales to save up on 5K difference per month. Imagine you save 5K, that's money directly in your pocket for you to spend on whatever you like. So based on those numbers, we have some franchisees that are so ambitious, they pushes the sales of the stores to over $1 million, close to $1 million sales per store. But just being very conservative, just stick with 500K. So what does it mean? Rent 10% of this. So like I said, it's 4 to 5K per month. Fixed costs, let's say 10% too, about the same thing. Labor 30%. For a store operator, I strongly suggest you to work as much as you can in the first year. This way, you can truly learn all the angle of the business and you can truly be a master of your craft. That's how I did in the past. I used to be working 7 days a week for years and years in order to know where I can save, where I can make it more efficient. And as the owner operator yourself, you are worth more than one employee. So having you work in the store, you can basically replace 2 employees, especially in a brand like Onigiri Shop. Imagine you lower this to probably 5-10% of total cost. The rest will be directly to you. That will be your own salary that you can truly enjoy out of 500K sales. So what means for you to be able to save 20% of 500K? That means you can make what, 100K more of salary just for yourself. So you're basically making already 6 figures just by working in the store. This, I did not count the profit that you can make too, which is probably 13% up to 25%. So this is truly great and amazing. You can easily make over 200K if you are willing to put in the work. So we've been through the realistic numbers. Now, the next exciting question is how to scale. That's also my specialties myself, after opening more than 150 stores. But before that, I used to own multiple stores by myself. So I opened the first one, first Sushi-sama that I founded back in 2012, and then I opened the second Sushi-sama, third, and then in 2019 I founded Poke Station, and in the same year I opened 2 locations. So this is where the whole concept of micromanagement and making things more efficient comes into place. This is where the system, the blueprint has been founded through years of working inside of the stores and having the right people around me. So now, what are the key elements that I'll look to when you're looking into scaling your business or through multiple locations? Firstly, in business, the easiest ways to make more money is to bump up the sales of the stores. Everybody knows it, right? But in restaurant business, it's quite different. Why? Because we have peak hours, we have rush hours. So even though our open hours is more than 10 hours per day, but we only have a few peak hours that all the customers always come, which is lunchtime and also dinner time. So you have to be efficient in this way. And don't forget, we're here in Canada, Quebec. A lot of people, all they like is complain. So if you're messing up the orders, your orders take a little bit too long, what do you think is going to happen? Bad reviews, they won't come again, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes scaling and boosting the numbers might not be the smartest choice if you're not that efficient operating the store yourself, or if your employees are not that efficient too. So you really need to consider that. We have, I'll give you three different groups of franchisee on how to scale the business. Let's go into here. So the first one, very easy, own one store. What they like to do is just to bump the sales, because he's the store operator and he's so efficient in just managing the staff and the people. So he preferred to be, and also he's a control freak. So he wants everything perfect. So his best scenario is just to bump the sales to a maximum and just keep maintaining it. Because in restaurant business, when you can keep the sales at the top, this is where the higher the profit margin is. He got one store performing to over 100 million sales per year at over 25% profit. That's not even included his own salary because he's working in stores. So just do your own calculation yourself. He's making quite a good money. So this is the first scenario. And also the second one, or people that has money that wants to invest but do not want to operate themselves. But even though they do not want to operate themselves, they still operate for a few months or even during the first year. So he can understand which one is the best employee manager that he can get in place, and also the efficiency of the business. What that kind of person, his best scenario is maintaining a stable sell, not too high, not too low. My good sales generating probably 10% profit margin, but which do not require him to work in the stores anymore, because he gives, why only 10%? Because he gives percentage bonus sales profit to the store manager itself. So that's why the profit is lower, but in exchange, peace of mind. So that kind of a franchisee, they can operate multiple stores if they have enough cash flow. So all they do is just invest in people and also new stores and make a good amount of profit. That's all he wants. 10%, maybe even 5%. Imagine you do nothing, you ask for a business loan that requires you to have a total investment of 50 to 75K, which is for this amount. Imagine you put 50K and you make 10% of 500K sales. You basically have your return on investment in the first year, which is not bad. You cannot find it out there. And the third are usually the most ambitious one. So they will not only go this way, but he will go also this way. So he will be basically pushing all the sales up as much as they can through all the stores, but also trying to own and open as much as they can. They will be finding operational partners, investors. Those kind of people really scales on a bigger level. We do have for Onigiri and also Sushi Sama and Poke Station, the grant of the game. So within the first year, they're a group of very young people, 22, 23 years old, opened their first stores about a year ago, now on the way to opening their third and fourth location. So that's how fast we can truly grow. So yes, so this, let's say plus X, whatever, money, those are the best type. This is how I used to be too in the past. But combining those three, you just look which profile suits you better. But it doesn't matter which one you pick, we are here for you. We're here to show you exactly how you can start and how you can scale and how you can maintain the business. So let's sum up the video again. Initial investment cost, 150 to 200K. Why it's so low? A lot of franchisors out there, they prefer to bump up the price because this is where they truly make money. They make money through kickbacks of constructions. They don't like it when I mention this because we truly don't. Out of this total investment, there's nothing for us to make, barely even for our contractors. So that's all that you need. If you go with a small business loan, probably you need about 75K cash on hand to be able to open your first store. And operational costs, I talk a lot about fixed costs. I want you to be able to keep it as low as possible because this is where you can truly minimize your risk in your own investment, which is a lower rent, everything that is quite, the other fixed costs below 10%, labor costs control under 30%, It's very easy because the operation, it's not hard at all. And also food cost, you just have to make sure there's no waste. And also royalties stays the same. Royalties and marketing stay the same. And realistic profits about 10 to 25%, depending on how well you can manage the business and how to scale and open more stores. The next exciting part of your business venture.